Hello, CLSB Politics. Sean Briscoe here. Today we're talking about Florida as a choice state. So it's got choice on the ballot, and this is part of that series I'm doing. Now that the debate's over, I'm not going to get any polling data for like another day or two. So just going to go take a look at it and see what Florida's talking about. So real quick, let's talk about what's actually on the ballot. So it's right now, it's got a 6 weeks. Doesn't matter what happened, you're kind of screwed if you live in Florida. What they want to do is they want to protect the right to abortion up to viability, and when necessary, safeguard the pregnant person's life. So, I mean, it's basically, uh, you know, making sure that women have access to this very important service. So, good job, Florida. Nice and tight. No 15-week this or any of that nonsense. I wanted to talk a little bit about where Florida's at. So it's Florida, guys. Here, I'll blow that up again. It's a 4.2 gap. This is the poll of polls off of. It basically takes in all the polls that have been collected for Florida for this cycle, and it's Florida. I mean, in 2022, we lost the state by 19 and a half points. So 4 points is better. but this is likely and registered voters and a big mix, and this is as of the 12th. So that's what I'm thinking. Florida's got some problems. A population that moves around quite a bit, mostly because the housing issue is so chaotic. They've got storms. There's a million things that go sideways in Florida. And when you take a really close look at Florida's demographics, they have a huge retired population, right? That's kind of what Florida's known for. But you know what you're not seeing? The millennial bump. They're just not there. If you look at it, if you go back and look at some of my other videos from those other states I've done, you can see in here, I'll show nationally, we have a millennial bump. See, there it is. And then that second bump is the boomers. So when you compare the two, you can see like there's almost a whole chunk that's been cut out of Florida. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, huge retired population. So it has an overinflated retired population. So that's going to be all 60 and 65, 55 to 85, right? So there's an overinflated universe of just those voters. And then it's so expensive in Florida. Housing is insane, mostly because the insurance is insane. I was talking to somebody I know that's in Florida, and their insurance is half, maybe almost the whole equivalent of their mortgage every month. So it's nuts over there, and there's some areas that, and most of it you can't even get insurance, and so they have state insurance because you're required to have insurance by law. So yeah, it's nuts. Florida's kind of crazy. So it's cost of living plus just a huge retirement universe. It's what makes Florida a hard nut to crack. I honestly think how we were able to do it in 08 was we had every grandchild fly down to Florida and convince their grandparents to vote for Obama. I remember hearing stories and anecdotal stuff about that all the time. And I think that's exactly what happened. And the demographics of Florida have changed quite a bit since then too. So case in point, Florida's 42.4 years old. Just to give you an idea, the United States is 38 and a half. So Florida is a full, 4 years older, demographically speaking, than the rest of the United States. So it's definitely the oldest state that I've dealt with in this project. So yeah, that doesn't help. All right, so let's look at some other little interesting factoids about this. Give me a second. There you go. So we got housing. Again, pretty much standard. The population is growing. It's a huge state. It grew by 2 million, or 3 million and change, really. Just around 3 million, doing the math in my head. Uh, so you've got a huge growing population there. It's got, you know, about 50%, 57% white. I wouldn't be surprised by 2030 if that's 50%. It's got a very large African American population. It's got a huge population compared to other states of two or more races. So, you know, half Hispanic, half Black, half, you know, Pacific Islander. You've got Central America and South America. You've just got so many different cultures and groups coming together in Florida that you end up with quite the melting pot. So yeah, I spent many months there working in 2022, and it was just about everything you can imagine. It's like, yeah. So this is the population density of Florida. You can see there's a lot in the central, and really, honestly, when we were working it, there were like 7 counties we operated in. So, which were basically, you know, Miami-Dade and those others. So all the populations along the coast. Actually, in 2022, we got hit by a Ian. Now that went right up the middle of Florida, so it cut right into the center of the state. And mad props to the crew I was working with. I was doing the back end data work, but so I knew I could tell what our burn rate was per door and all that jazz. And we ended up with only being really out of at 0 doors per day for about 7.5 days. So a little, maybe 8 days, just over a week, I started getting the first door knocking data back, which is amazing if you think about it, because those hurricanes don't play. And Ian was for real. It wasn't like it was a super powerful one. It just went up right the middle of the state, and lots of flooding, just knocked everything out. I mean, because it wasn't a direct hit east-west. It was a direct hit from south to north. So logistically, it was just insane. We had canvassers that didn't have houses anymore. I mean, you just imagine how that trickled down through the entire program. And we still had a few weeks. We still had like a month and a half of campaigning to do. So it was kind of nuts. Florida is its own adventure, no doubt. But as you can see, the population's all along the coast. There's a chunk in the center. And the panhandle is pretty much nothing, and central South Florida is like nothing. So you can really operate a 7-county program in this state pretty easily. For its size and its population, it's a decent bang for buck. It's not like Texas where you've got 19 counties spread out all across East Jesus. So you've got 7 that are relatively close together, to where the logistics aren't near as overwhelming. So I kind of reprogrammed my projection based on current polling and choice on the ballot. I've got Florida as a soft red. It's going to be mostly red, but we're going to pick up some seats in the suburbs. Of course, I've got so this is where I think we're going to be when the day is over. The Republicans will barely break 200 based on current polling. On just some of my ideas and where I see certain states going. Like, I'm not fully sold on Missouri. I think there's something going on there because we've been watching weird stuff happen in that chunk of the U.S. since 22, since Roe. I'm just not writing that one. I'm also not writing off half of Nebraska. So, but yeah, there's definitely and I wouldn't be surprised if that one in Maine flips. But like I said, I'm just waiting to see more data. But right now, Florida's got 4 points. I just don't see that. I'd say that's amazing progress, but I'll keep my eye on it. And maybe the closer we get, the more interesting the numbers will get. But I just feel like the amount of infrastructure and the amount of money the Republicans have spent there, it's going to be a hard nut to crack. So real quick, as per usual, make sure you register to vote. These are all the registration deadlines for the states with their swing states, and a lot of them have choice on the ballot. So definitely take a look. You got to make sure that you're a registered vote, because of course, check your voter status. Just want to say thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Definitely comment if there's a state that I haven't done yet. Probably have it in the hopper. But if there's a state that you'd like me to look at that may not have choice and may not be considered a swing state, I'm more than happy to do that. If you'd like to support the work that I'm doing here on the channel, feel free to go ahead and go to PayPal at CLSP Politics. Every little bit counts. My internet's giving me trouble today, so I'd love to make some upgrades. All right. Hope everyone has a good day. Tomorrow will probably most likely be my big polling one, because it gives them 2 days to collect some data. So we'll see. I haven't seen anything real come through yet. Maybe later tonight, tomorrow, maybe by noon. We'll see.